Good morning, everyone. The time is now 11:27. All mics are running. Everything is being broadcast and live streamed on all platforms.
Good morning, everyone. We're going to go ahead and get started with today's press conference. My name is Haley Wilson. I'm Director of Communications for the City of Springfield. Thank you all for being here today. In a few moments, you will hear from city officials and city staff making remarks in regards to the intersection of North Grand and 5th Street. Just a few things to cover. All representatives will be available for about 15 minutes to answer questions immediately following. Please keep your questions within the subject area of North Grand and 5th Street. And I will also let everyone know that this is being live streamed. Towards the end, I will indicate how many more questions we have time for. Please limit yourself to one question and one follow-up question. If time permits, we may call on you for any additional questions. We do have microphones up at the press box. Please turn them on, wait till the light turns green, and wait about 2 seconds before you start speaking. You should be all good to go. Also, please make sure that your phone is on silent. With that, I will go ahead and bring up Officer Mike Newman. We understand that there are a lot of questions regarding this, so we want to make sure that we get those answered. So please welcome Outreach Team Coordinator, Officer Mike Newman.
Good morning. As she stated, I'm Officer Newman. I am the, the Homeless Outreach Team Coordinator for the City of Springfield. And just a brief narrative of what occurred yesterday. 5th and North Grand is an area that myself and the City Community Care Coordinator, Shannon Allen, frequent to give resources and to hand out information and to set up meetings with the individuals from the unhoused community. We had received a number of emails as well as phone calls, as we normally do with this area. So myself, as I said, Shannon Allen, and two other individuals that were with us, officers, went out to the area to assess what was going on in the area. Once we got to the area, we did notice that there were a couple of large trash cans that were full of trash and a couple of items that were kind of laid about, if you will. We got out and we interacted with the unhoused community as we normally do. And during that conversation, again, noticing that there were some large trash cans there that were full, and being that we were out there very often, I knew that Public Works had not yet made it over to the location to empty the trash cans. We did call for Public Works initially for that, and engaging in conversation with some of the unhoused community there. We were speaking about the location of some of their items. Speaking with the gentleman that was in the larger gazebo, he did agree in conversation to move the gazebo, and during the course of doing that, speaking with other individuals, we were informed by the individuals in the unhoused community that those items that we did see on the ground were items that had been abandoned and left by others who had not returned to the area. At that point in time, I had left the area for an appointment, but apparently Public Works did arrive, and Mrs. Allen stood by with the unhoused individuals in the community and allowed them to point out the items that were abandoned and the items that were theirs, at which time they collected and removed their personal items from the other items so that there would be no mistake. Anything that was picked up were items that were pointed out by the unhoused community as abandoned and discarded. It was a collective effort to beautify that corner, to bridge the gap, to continue to provide resources. And that was the course of events that day.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Ethan Posey. I'm the Director of Community Relations for the City of Springfield. I want to thank Officer Mike Newman for giving some context to the situation yesterday, and I'm also here to clarify a few things that the public has questions about. Officer Newman and Shannon Allen, who is our Community Care Coordinator, are a team that work together. They are partners, and they go out every day in our community and interact with the unhoused and do a number of things. I'll let Shannon, when she speaks to you, run down the list of some of the things that she does, but the two of them do the work of an entire organization. on a daily basis. And as the director of the Office of Community Relations, I have not done a good enough job of advertising and showing the public just what they do on a daily basis, and I will do a better job of that. We don't have a huge staff at the Office of Community Relations, so whenever one of my people goes out to work with the community, oftentimes we need the assistance of other agencies such as the SPD, such as Public Works, to support us and help us do the things that we need to do. So I know for the community, seeing a Public Works truck picking up different materials from the unhoused community might be a bit jarring and a bit off-putting. I want to assure you that we do that from a safety aspect. When you're dealing with the unhoused community, sometimes there may be hypodermic needles or other types of hazardous material that could injure someone if they're picking it up with their hands. So using our equipment that we have in Public Works is simply a matter of safety for our employees and individuals. I also want to ensure the community this was not some kind of SPD operation that was put together. This is what my people do every day. And there's no one in the city of Springfield better than Shannon Allen and Mike Newman at what they do. This is what we are doing to try and listen to the members of the community who are at city council, the members of the community who call my phone and call my office on a daily basis to tell us what the struggles are in the community, specifically at the location of 5th and North Grand. I have talked to community members who own property there, who live there, who are managers of businesses there, the managers of the Quick and Easy, and saw their concerns. And when Mike and Shannon went out yesterday, it was simply to assess the situation. Now, when they go out to assess the situation, if they see something that is considered a public safety hazard, they have an obligation to act on that. That is not something that the SPD has gone and put a mandate for. That is what our team does to keep not only the unhoused community safe, but the public at large safe. If something is like a gazebo is obstructing the view where people need to walk across the street and there's no street light, that gazebo needs to come down. And conversations are had between our team and the unhoused community to make sure that it is a conversation and a mutual agreement between our team and the unhoused individuals that we understand and recognize there's a safety issue and we are not taking away your items. Simply, this is a matter of public safety and we need to address it. I want to assure the public no citations were handed out. No one was arrested. There were no tickets. This was not an SPD act. However, as the Director of Community Relations, if I'm going to be sending my community care coordinator into potentially dangerous situations, I will not do that without her having the escort of officers there for protection. And they are simply there to make sure that my people are safe. So if there are people in the community that are upset with the perception of how things were handled yesterday, I would ask that you call my office or come to 1450 Grove Street and sit down and talk with me so we can discuss exactly what it is that our team does. On Tuesday at City Council, our team will actually come and give a presentation so that way the community has a better idea of exactly what they do on a daily basis from the city side to go out and interact and reach out to our unhoused community and make sure they have things they need, like a social security card, like a birth certificate, like access to shelters where they may not know where they can go or may not know the specifics of what shelter, works with what subpopulation of the unhoused community. Furthermore, after talking to our Mayor, Misty Busher, we will be working toward expanding our homeless outreach team so that way we can do more consultations, schedule more appointments, and get more resources to the individuals that need it the most. Now, the public will see members of the SPD out with our outreach team. However, that is simply for the safety of the people who work for my office. And again, I would ask that anyone who has questions on how our team operates, what we're doing as a community relations department to do a better job of interacting with the community members who are unhoused, because they are citizens of Springfield. We do care. We do want to get them the resources that they need and do it in a way where they are respected and loved and appreciated. Please come and talk to me at the Office of Community Relations at 1450 Grove Street. Now, at this time, I would like to bring up my community care coordinator, Shannon Allen, to tell you all a bit about what she does on a daily basis and how she interacts with our unhoused community.
Good morning. My name is Shannon Allen, and I was present yesterday at 5th Street in North Grand. We were there engaging with individuals on North Grand and 5th Street. I was there helping them, providing them with resources. I scheduled appointments. I asked, are some of you unhoused, or in housing, in shelter? Some of them were. Some of them have already been placed in apartments, but some of them were not. So the ones that were not, scheduled appointments with them for resources for housing, and some of them needed other help with employment and things like that. So we were there to basically assess the situation and provide whatever resources needed to be provided for these individuals. I've been working with I've been a community care coordinator for 2.5 years, and I have been working with the unhoused strictly with Officer Newman, who is the homeless outreach officer. We work hand in hand. We're together every day in the office, in the car, around the city. We're at the Mission, we're at the library, we're at the bread line, we're 5th and North Grand, wherever we need to be to help individuals get the resources they need to succeed in life. Some of my job duties, I have daily appointments, I make referrals, I help individuals with IDs, birth certificates, Social Security cards. I help them apply for Social Security if need be. I take them to their appointments. I help them set up their appointments for doctor's appointments. I provide them with the resources to get in contact with physicians to help them with doctor's appointments, anything like that, along with housing, helping them fill out their applications, taking them to their appointments for housing, talking with the caseworkers, letting them know what all units are available, emergency rental assistance. I collaborate with Catholic Charities, Contact Ministries, Helping Hands, work with the Harlem Continuum of Care, so that we all can work together on getting these resources provided. Yesterday, like Ethan said earlier, no one was cited, no one was moved along, no one was told they have to leave, no one was told you have to throw anything away. When Public Works arrived on the scene, I let them know, do not touch anything until the individuals let us know what was not theirs and what could be discarded of. After that was done, then Public Works proceeded to discard of the items that did not belong to anyone. We're here to help the homeless population any way we can. We're out there day in, day out, providing resources. They're in and out of my office daily. They're in and out of Helping Hands, Contact Ministries. We provide whatever resources. I call my office the one-stop shop. But if I can't do it, I know who can. And I can refer them to anyone in the community that can assist them. And that would be all for now.
So I wanted to make sure that everyone knows that when you heard from both Officer Newman and Shannon Allen, our outreach coordinator, this is what they do every day. Every day they are in the car together all over Springfield, north side, east side, west side, south side, downtown, talking to individuals who do not have permanent housing, or, as Shannon just said, some of them do have housing, they're just hanging out. But they talk to the individuals in the community, try to make sure that the community members who need assistance get the assistance they need, whether it's jobs, medical, housing, mental health, crisis intervention. That's what they do. They were doing their job yesterday. I have some aldermen and alderwomen. I will say I am sorry to you that you didn't know what was going on, but neither did I. I was in meetings. This is what they do every day. They were just doing their job. I think there were individuals who put some things on social media and had some theories that the police were out to get everyone, or Alderwoman Purchase and I were out to get people. This is their daily job, to assess people, talk to people, And as Officer Newman said, there were 4 garbage cans of trash, and Public Works picks up that public trash. That is a common thing as well. So I apologize to the elder people. I talked to a lot of them last night and said, I also am unaware, I'm finding out what's going on because this is just part of their daily job. To my knowledge, there was an encampment similar to this on the west side of town that they had to go in and talk to some of the individuals there and say, in days past or weeks past, what is trash, what is not. And we owe that to the community to keep it cleaned up. That's part of what we have to do as the city of Springfield. So it's not a conspiracy theory for police or the alder people or myself. It's just people doing their daily jobs. So just wanted to make sure that everyone heard truly what happened. And there is body cam video of it as well. I haven't seen it because I've, again, been being the mayor, but I will watch that, and I'm sure the chief would not have a problem releasing that either. So does anyone have any questions? I'll let Haley be the person in charge of the questions, so.
Thank you, everyone, and thank you, everyone who came up and spoke regarding this issue. I will now allow questions. Ethan Posey, if you want to come up, he knows the answer to a lot of these questions. And if you have any additional questions, please let me know. Remember, the microphones you do have to turn on. Please hold, wait for 2 seconds, and then you can begin asking questions. Please raise your hand so that I know that you are the one who would ask a question, and then I'll point you out, and then we'll get your questions answered. Thank you. Claire?
Okay. I want to know more about the loss of life. Were they a member of the in-house? When I read that in the press release yesterday, that was by far one of the biggest questions I wanted to ask about.
Well, as far as that goes, I can't get into specifics of the investigation because I'm not a SPD officer. However, there was an incident in the recent past where there was a member of the unhoused community who unfortunately passed away in proximity to a close business. There are a number of calls that the SPD received and my office as well about different actions that were going on at 5th and North Grand, and a lot of calls for assistance from the community. However, as an administration, we wanted to be very careful that we didn't just send the SPD into a situation based on the reports that were had and say, okay, you know, go make arrests if you need to, or go see what's going on, because that's not what the unhoused community needs. That's not what Springfield needs as a community, because right now we're trying to come together. So the purpose of our community care team and our homeless outreach team is to take the Office of Community Relations and our community care coordinator, Shannon Allen, along with Officer Mike Newman, together to make sure that we are building these relationships in the community with our unhoused population. I want to make it clear that the unhoused are not a separate part of the, separate from our community. They are another part of our wonderful, beautiful community here in Springfield that is diverse and has different needs. So at the same time, when we're receiving calls about a death in that part of the community, or an overdose or a number of overdoses in a part of that community, it's our job as a city administration to make sure that we go and provide resources and help to the members of that community to make sure they have the resources that they need.
And as a follow-up question, how much notice was given to the unhoused population in the encampment that their items were going to be removed?
Well, as we've talked about, this wasn't a, planned operation. This is our homeless outreach team doing what they're doing every day. So before any, items were removed, there were conversations that were had with a number of the unhoused individuals who were there. They were all given the opportunity to make sure that they pointed out and claimed what was their items, what was maybe a friend's item who was there, and what items were there that had been left, abandoned, discarded, that no one was there to claim. The only items that were picked up and taken away by Public Works were those identified by the unhoused community as being abandoned or discarded.
As a follow-up question, I just wanted to also ask, regarding the tents, were they all claimed as abandoned that were taken from the encampment?
Well, there was one large gazebo and one small tent. No one was forced to throw those items away. The gazebo was actually blocking an intersection going into the shopping center and where people cross across from the Quick and Easy, so it needed to be moved by the individual. They at some point decided, you know what, I don't want this, and chose willingly to throw it away. Tents were asked to be taken down, just so they weren't blocking the public view, but no tent was taken and thrown away as an act of, here, we need to clean this up. Like I said, anything, any item at all that was discarded of by Public Works was identified by the unhoused community as something that was abandoned or discarded.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thanks. Forgive my ignorance at all. I'm new here. Met some of you. So, could you please confirm or clarify how long this particular encampment has been there?
I can't give you a specific timeline, but it's been there for a number of weeks. We've gotten a number of calls and concerns to my office from family members in the community, from managers of different businesses there. However, they weren't breaking any laws. And as a city government, we don't make a habit of going and moving people on. That's just something that we can't do. We've heard from the community that that's something they don't want to happen. So even when you have an encampment that's been there for, an extended period of time, we've been working on a constant basis to see what are their needs. Can we get some people into shelters? Can we get them into rapid rehousing? What are the barriers that are preventing them from moving on from that particular spot?
Sure. And were you familiar with some of the folks there, or what were some of those needs? I was down there today, and it looked like maybe mental health.
Officer Mike Newman can speak to the number of individuals that they were already familiar with and had built relationships with.
Okay.
Yes, to answer your question, we were very familiar with the individuals there, know them by first name, last name, nicknames. And as far as their needs, we were, the needs that they informed us of that day, as Mrs. Allen stated, but we also knew of the needs from the past. We know that they require us to come out and sometimes provide different things. So yes, we were aware of all their needs and their names. And there's a long and extensive history, I would say with some of them, I have probably known them for 10 years before this position. So at a minimum 2.5 years in this position.
Oh, sure. And I acknowledge that it's a challenge, and you guys have to present this in a certain way. But I'm trying to formulate my question. But as far as looking for a solution, I mean, do some of these folks, could you help maybe describe some of these folks that were here? Or are they going to return to that spot and hopefully not create the garbage that created the call? Or what's kind of the solution moving forward, if that makes sense?
There was no returning to the spot because they never left. No one was moved along, as they said.
Okay.
We were simply there, again, providing resources and also assisting in cleaning up the area with some of the items, as we stated, at their request.
Okay, appreciate that.
Oh, sorry about that. Testing, can you hear me? Perfect. What data is the HOT team using to quantify success with the unhoused?
So I currently use the HMIS system, Homeless Management Intake System. And when I meet with them, I do the intake, enter all their information into the system. There's something called coordinated entry that also shoots out referrals for individuals to be housed. And all the agencies have access to that. So all of us can see who's working with who's done what, and the progress.
And what kind of community collaboration is being done with Continuum Partners and social service agencies outside of the Springfield Police Department?
There are a lot of collaborations. There's Heartland HCOC, there's Helping Hands, there's Contact Ministries, there Community Care Coordinator and Homeless Outreach Officers, there's Catholic Charities, Capital Township. There's a huge collaboration amongst the city that individuals are not aware of. Whether it be helping them with housing, resources for rental assistance or utilities, education, medications. There's a bunch of different organizations, and we're all working together.
Thank you.
I can hear you. So personally, I wasn't going through any of the items or any of the specific items that were down there. I was focusing on making appointments, providing resources, and that type of thing, and making sure that, you know, Public Works did not touch anything until everything was clear and everyone notified that their belongings, they have their belongings, and so we weren't going through anything.
I can speak a bit to that as well. You're not going to find a lot of specifics on exactly what was in the trash because when you're dealing with a situation where there's any kind of potential hazardous material, the last thing you want to do is send somebody digging through the trash where you can't see, where there may be something that can cut you, where there may be something that can poke you, where there may be something that someone is simply allergic to. And that speaks back to why we have Public Works come in with the equipment that we have to assure you don't necessarily have to have contact and be putting those individuals who work for the city in danger of interacting with any of these hazardous materials. Along with that, just out of respect for the unhoused community, we don't make a habit of going through their things and picking through their things, including their trash. I wouldn't want someone coming to my home and picking through my trash. I'm sure you wouldn't either. So we don't make a habit of picking through people's materials and trash. If they've identified it to the team as something that can be discarded, then that's what we take it at face value, is this is something that you are willing to part with and can be discarded. As you know, our unhoused community, all they really have is what they can carry on their backs or what they have in a shopping cart or on some other apparatus. It is not our job to look through what they have and pick through their lives. It is our job to provide them resources and assist them where they ask. So you're not going to get a big rundown of exactly what was thrown away in the trash, but we know it was things that were identified by the unhoused community as something that wasn't essential. And for them to designate out of the few things they have something that is unessential, that it is something that we feel comfortable discarding of in a safe manner.
Property they're on, and so it's just more about the safety, or maybe it said earlier, I apologize.
Well, when you're on public property, if you have a large structure, I don't know anyone who saw the gazebo that was out there. It was a very nice gazebo, actually, but a large structure like that obstructs the view of certain intersections. There are a number of schools in that area, including Enos and McClernandin and Landfair High School down the street, where students walk home and walk through the neighborhood every day. So having that view obstructed is opening us up for the potential of, you know, a catastrophic tragedy with a child or a family or an individual walking across the street. So although they are on public property, hence why no one was moved on or cited, we do need to make sure that there are not materials and equipment that are obstructing the view and can be a potential danger to someone crossing the street, going to the gas station, going about their daily lives. That could be a much larger and much worse situation.
That concludes today's press conference. Thank you all for being here today.